Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth of our 5 first-round matchups in Season 2 of the Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins Randomizer League. Oh dear, Rave, Tuba, and Late Learner started off with victories. Who will join them? Stay tuned as we find out together as Typo takes on Yoco21. Now, for those new to Super Mario Land 2, the object is for our racers to defeat the evil Wario. To do so, they will have to advance through 6 different zones to collect, as the game's title indicates, 6 golden coins by defeating 6 different bosses. And those golden coins will allow access to Wario's castle for the final showdown. Now, what's randomized here in Super Mario Land 2? Practically everything. The levels are shuffled. The zones with dual exits may or may not be swapped. Also, the bosses, enemies, and power-ups are randomized. Also changed around to the zone's music, as well as the physics. They can have normal, moon physics, or space physics on any level, as well as whether or not a zone's level is auto-scrolled, which certainly has come into play on a few occasions. So our 2 runners are just about ready to get things rolling here. Certainly should be a goodie. The first of 2 that we have here on Randomania 2 this evening. Coming up later tonight, we've got Slash against Lori D. That'll be at 8:30 Eastern, a little less than 2.5 hours from now. I'll be here with you on the call for that. I also want to give special thanks behind the scenes here to Yoni Man, who is doing the restreaming and tracking as well. So quite a bit going on here, and we're just about ready to get underway, and we'll see how the 32 different zones are shaken out here in Super Mario Land 2. But as we have a moment here, I'll give you a chance to let you know that a couple of the levels, we'll talk about them, are what are called split levels, or zones that have dual exits. So what that means is there's a standard exit and a secret exit. One of them, our runners aren't necessarily looking forward to seeing, as it diverts from the path that gets them as close to they can as the boss for that particular zone. Whether it be Tree Zone, the Space Zone, Macro Zone, Pumpkin Zone, Mario Zone, and Turtle Zone. So there are a couple that have some splits off of there. Now, Mario Zone is the only one that does not, but the other 5, you could have a few different paths that branch off, and they're looking to avoid those, but that's part of the fun of Randomizer, is they don't know which exit is going to be the one that will lead them closer to the boss and which one will send them off to the side, in a sense. So there's one of those in Tree Zone. There's 2 potential splits in Space Zone, one of which you'll see is the Hippo, which can either take them to the beginning of Space Zone or it can launch them over to the beginning of Macro Zone. Also, there's one in Macro Zone that doesn't necessarily take them to the wrong path, but it is ideal. There is one ideal exit, as going from Macro Zone 1 to the Special or Secret Zone. That means one less zone to, or one less level to face in the Macro Zone before getting to the boss. So there's not necessarily a wrong choice, just one that takes a little bit more time. And then, of course, there are 2 in Pumpkin Zone, so that can really create some havoc. And then there's one in the Turtle Zone that can lead to a secret area as well. So there's a few different quirks that can come along here, and we'll see how this goes for our runners, who should just be moments away from getting things rolling here on this Super Mario Land 2 Season 2 race. The fourth of our 5 first-round matchups. And it looks like we are underway, and the starting zone this time around, well, it looks like that is going to be Macro Zone 3. It should be interesting. You'll see the arrowed floors along the way that they'll have to navigate almost like conveyor belts in a sense. And the power-ups, as I mentioned, are randomized, so we've got an invincibility star right off the bat. And both of our runners trying to take advantage of it, but not quite able to get the 5 enemies that would give them a 1-up, an extra life. Now both of our runners determining which way to go. Typo going through the pipes underneath, Yoco taking the high road. And Typo finding another star. So lots of small Mario here, as Typo is going to hit the midpoint bell. That means should Typo lose a life here, that's where he would start this particular zone's level. And now leaping over the fire ever so carefully here. So a slight lead for Typo, as Toxic Note can chat that it's in a sense a safety save. And you'll also notice that the jumping is a bit different than normal. This is the moon physics that come into play. So the standard jumping that you see, it goes a little bit slower and it kind of hangs out there a little bit. So that is one of the different dynamics that our runners have to adjust and get accustomed to, as Yoco hitting the bell right above the goal, which is going to lead to a kind of a mini game here to potentially get a power up, as Typo heading off to the right and is going to head into Turtle Zone. Yoco, meanwhile, getting the carrot that's going to give him the bunny ears. That'll allow him to kind of float and hover along. And Turtle Zone 1 this time around is going to be the Space Secret Zone. Meanwhile, Yoco heading to the left, and Tree Zone 1, well, that looks to be Pumpkin Zone 1. So because the two paths have split off, we won't really know until a little bit later into this run who has the advantage. Quickly heading through, and now this is the first of these split level zones, and Turtle Zone 2 this time is going to be Tree Zone 2. You can see from the gel that they have to navigate their way through. And there is a secret exit as well as a standard exit, and one of them will lead onto the path to the Turtle Zone 3, which will be the boss level. The other leads off to the side, and that's the one that they're not looking for. Yoco, meanwhile, trying to dodge and getting a little bit of lag with the fireball and the piranha plants and a few other things. And having a quick staring contest with the Boo before jumping on up. And, ooh, Typo hitting the spikes and taking a little bit of damage and making it twice. Perhaps an intentional death there. As Yoco going to hit the goal. And Tree Zone 2, that is going to be Macro Zone 1. Another split level. And Typo, meanwhile, having to take a death here. Going with the lower route, which, based on the physics and everything, not sure how that's going to necessarily work out here. As with that long pit of spikes, even with the moon physics, might be a bit to get over. And as you can see, there being a little bit of an issue there. Meanwhile, Yoco kind of hovering over the ants. Typo continuing to jump upward here. With the mechanics, not able to make the normal jump, so Typo having a little bit of trouble getting to that invincibility star. Yoco, meanwhile, is going to head on over to the goal. The standard goal, and that turns out that is not the one that he's looking for. As it leads to the Turtle Secret Zone, which is going to be Mario 1 with the gears. And meanwhile, Typo having to take a reset there after little bit of, I guess, a scrolling effect or something along those lines. So the moon physics with this particular board creating a little bit of havoc early on for Typo. Yoco, meanwhile, opting to head on through the less than desired level, probably to try and keep the power-up that currently is there. Typo again trying to get the ears, and takes a oh, that's what happened initially. The wrap kind of wrapping through once powering up. Meanwhile, Yoco is going to hit the goal for Mario Zone 1, is going to head back and try again, and this time take the secret exit in Macro Zone 1. Wolfman noting in chat, the glitch is so nice that we see it twice. That is very accurate. But I don't think the third time is... if it happens a third time, I don't think it's going to necessarily be all that charming for Typo. And this time around, he is going to bypass it and head on to the goal. And let's see if the standard goal is the way to go, and it is. And we've got the Space Zone 2 auto scroll. And Typo opting to nope out of it. I was going to use some coins to get a power-up. And Typo's going to head on over to the tree zone as well. So Pumpkin Zone 1 for Typo. Yoco, meanwhile, doing a little bit of backtracking. And Yoko's going to hit the bell just above the goal to gather a power-up. Ooh, swing and a miss. So now Yoco going to opt for a different direction, it looks like. And is going to go... Oh, wow. It's going to go to the mole, the miscellaneous overworld. Not often do you see that there. And it looks to be the Pumpkin Secret Zone. As now Typo heading into Macro Zone 1. And an extra life for Typo as he makes his way through, and Yoco going through a huge loop here of Paragoombas. Oh, but takes a death. And now Yoko's going to head on up, and let's see what the Hippo split level is going to be. It is Space Zone 1. So now with this, there's a lower level that they're able to get to, or if they can hit hidden blocks and climb on up, with which the normal physics makes it a little bit easier to do. Or actually a little more difficult to do, I should say, because they're used to having the moon physics in this particular level. As Yoco takes a death. Meanwhile, Typo going to the traditional exit, and that is going to lead him off to the side here and Mario Zone 1. So Typo soft resetting, and is going to head back in to look for the secret exit. Ooh, and Yoco taking a death. So the physics kind of playing havoc early on here in this seed. I say early on, we're already 11 minutes in. No coins for either side as of yet. Ooh, Yoco falling into another spike. And Typo, I guess, going for a damage booster 2 here. Hopping over the ants, skipping past the mid-bell. Oh, and Typo taking a death, as does Yoco. So now both kind of recontemplating what they want to do here. And Yoko's going to opt to head on into Macro Zone. So Macro 1, oh, it looks to be an auto-scroller, and it is Pumpkin Zone 3, a split zone. So I'm curious to see, oh, he takes a death to the Ghost Goomba. Typo's now going to head on over to Turtle Zone and try his luck there. Heading back on in, and now with the bunny ears, able to perhaps navigate through the auto-scrolling Space Zone 2 to take on the first boss for either of our runners. So dueling auto-scrollers at the moment. Typo with the Space Zone 2, and Yoco with a not normally auto-scrolled Pumpkin Zone 3. And you see Yoco having to make some quick work traversing those particular ledges to be able to stay in, and even using a bit of a pause buffer strat. So certainly rather curious as this seed has gone on here, and Typo, it looks like, is going to have to take a damage boost here. Losing those bunny ears. And Yoco gladly hitting that midpoint bell to be able to start in the middle of the board as the auto scrolls continue. And now, being small Mario, a bit of a challenge here for Yoco to be able to not hit anything as he's being auto scrolled along. Typo taking another hit as he was trying to go for that power-up. And Yoco with a YOLO leap of faith almost, but is going to have to follow downward into the traditional exit. And I think both of our runners are hoping if they do not have to take that secret exit, and Typo taking a death to the stars. So he's going to head back on out and get a power-up. Meanwhile, I don't think that's what Yoco was looking for. He gets a 3-up, 3 additional lives. And now heading on over to Macro 2. So that is the less ideal of the 2 boards. And Yonaman, no coins as of yet. So now here in Macro Zone 2. Oh, Yoco is utilizing the space physics to just float on over top of the board. And did so much floating, I couldn't see what it was at the beginning there. Oh, and Typo is now going to face the boss, and it looks as though it's the sewer rat. 5 quick fireballs, and that is going to give Typo the first coin here in this race at just about the 16-minute mark. So that takes care of Turtle Zone. Typo going to head on back. Yoco, meanwhile, navigating through a couple of pipes. And Typo is back into Macro Zone 1 for a little more fun. And Late Learner, yeah, there has been auto-scrolling in Pumpkin Zone 3 as well as the Space Zone 2, some moon physics. Yeah, it's been a little bit treacherous in the better part of the first 17 minutes for our racers here. All right, so we have respective goals, and now taking the correct one here, and we've got Tree Secret on Typo's side. And he's going to use the moon physics to just float on over. And oh dear, noting in chat that the Star Song is in play. The Star Song hype is there as Typo is now navigating through another level, and oh, Yoco taking another death. Alrighty, so Yoco navigating through now one of the early levels, I believe. Yeah, that looks to be making quick work, or so I thought of the start level. But opting to go back in, it looks like. As meanwhile, Typo is in Tree Zone 5 in its vanilla location. And an invincibility star for Yoco is going to take advantage of that along with the fire flower. And is going to hit the goal. And move on to macro zone 4. But is opting to head back. Meanwhile, we've got the octopus on Typo's side. And a few quick fireballs makes it 2 coins for Typo. Here at 20:59, just before the 21-minute mark. So Yoco heading back in with the fire flower. Typo, meanwhile, going to head over to Hippo and try to navigate Space Zone 1 with the normal physics and fire. Ooh, close shave there for Typo. Able to... Oh, but he falls into the spikes. Looking for a power-up, not going to get it, and now Typo having to be really careful here. And Typo hitting the midpoint bell and is going to just take the intentional death. And Typo having a soft reset there because he was just about out of lives. When you run out of lives for Mario Land 2, the boards that you've cleared, the different the zones levels that you've cleared remain cleared, but the coins essentially respawning. You have to redefeat the bosses that you had beaten in order to get back to where you were. And Tree Zone 3 here for Yoco. It looks as though that is the auto-scrolling miscellaneous overworld level. And Typo taking another soft reset death. The lives very generous on Yoco's side with 9, meanwhile just the 1 for Typo. And Yoco getting a fire flower here in the auto scroller and is going to get to the end. And head on up to Tree Zone 5 in its vanilla location. And Typo, it looks like he's trying to damage boost through those 2 areas of spikes, knowing that he doesn't have the moon physics to be able to jump over them, but not quite able to take care of it in time. Oh, and Yoco falling down and taking a death. And as noted in chat by Beast, Typo is on his last life, so some very careful navigation and controller utilization here to avoid losing out on those 2 golden coins. Oh, and he is able to get through the damage boost. And he's going to make it through to Space Zone, and Space Zone 1 is a split zone, and it looks to be Turtle Zone 2, the submarine. All right, Typo about to run the gauntlet, as it's known. It's the area heading into the secret exit. It's a shorter distance than the standard one, but with the enemies being randomized, you don't know what you're going to run into. As you see, there's bullet bills and sharks and bonefish and just about everything else. As Yoco fires through the octopus and is going to get coin number 1. Oh, and we see that the secret exit is not the ideal one. And meanwhile, it looks like Typo is in Tree Zone 1, which is what split off from the space secret. So Yoco is going to head back on over to the Turtle Zone. And Typo is going to soft reset and go back on through and take the long way through the submarine. Yoco, meanwhile, in Space Secret, utilizing the moon physics. And is going to head on through. And Yoco will see the trouble that is Tree Zone 2 with moon physics. So Typo heading back into the submarine. Yoco floating along. Using the moon physics. It certainly makes for an interesting combination, as Yoco going to jump up and grab that invincibility star, which will give Yoco a chance to be able to traverse the spike-covered area without having to worry about falling into it, at least for that brief period that, ooh, just barely held on. So now Yoco going to try to grab that star, but realizing that the physics have not come in here, and looks like Yoco has just forfeited. Wow, it's just before the half-hour mark of this race. SRL noting that Yoco has entered the forfeit. I feel like I say this with every race, but just when you think you've seen everything, something new comes into the fray here. from all accounts, this has been a very frustrating seed, to say the least. And Typo going to head on to Space Zone 2 and looks to be Pumpkin Zone 4. Wolfman, yeah, at just a little over a minute ago, the forfeit appeared on Yoko's side. It certainly has been a very challenging seed. And it did seem like in a lot of cases, any direction that Yoco had tried to go led to some difficult to surmount challenge. And I mean, perhaps it was just a matter of perhaps some tilting or some frustration. It's hard to say, as the Space Zone boss in this case is going to be the traditional boss in the Mario Zone, and that is the Three Little Pigs. So no Fire Flower here, so 3 stomps on the straw. And, ooh, getting hit there while working on the Stick Pig. He's able to take him out, and now just 3 more for the Brick Pig. And Typo being very careful here. But he is able to take out the pigs and is going to get coin number 3. Here at 32 minutes and 23 seconds. So 3 zones down, the Tree Zone, the Space Zone, and the Turtle Zone for Typo. And is now going to head on over to Macro Zone. So Macro Zone 1 is the auto-scrolling Pumpkin 3. Now, we saw earlier on that Yoco, by default, ended up having to take the lower path. And Yoco noting in chat, putting in the GG, and it certainly was a gallant effort. That is for sure. Seeing how challenging it was, I can't say as I blame you. There was certainly a set of challenges that have seldom, if not at all, been seen by even some of the more experienced runners here in this game. So Typo carefully waiting for the Piranha Plant to finish firing off. And now hits the midpoint bell. Gonna leave that boo off to the side. Avoiding the Ghost Goomba. And having to take a damage boost to the boo there. And Typo not having the ability to hover up over top with the bunny ears is going to have to take the lower path. But it is going to hit that bell right before the goal to try to get a power up, and is going to grab the carrot. And get the bunny ears, at least a little too late, although he may go back and double back depending on how things go. And Macro Zone 2 looks to be Turtle Zone 1. Which I was able to catch a very brief glimpse of before Typo using the space physics to fly above the level. with nothing but clear skies. A little bit of patchy clouds across. With a high of... Oh, no, wait, this isn't a weather report. This is a video game. Yes. The typo using the space physics and is able to hover in and swim on into the goal. So now to Macro Zone 3, which is the starting level. And Typo's gonna use the bunny ears to kind of float and flutter and hover over, and well, a little bit of a Paragoomba intervention, able to dodge out of the way of it, and is floating on like the floaters from back in the mid-70s. Let's give him past the midpoint bell. Heading right on over the top of a Paragoomba and hitting the goal, and is going to move on to the boss zone, the boss level of Macro Zone, which is Turtle Zone 3. Ooh, and a little bit of a not quite damage boost, but having to take a little damage. And now having to wait for the turtle to get on out of the way. So at the midpoint, and a random bonefish, a little bit of lag here it looks like, and well, an invincibility star that can take out some enemies and take out a little bit of lag in the process as well. So there's 3, there's 4, there's a much needed 1-up, as that gives him 2 lives now, and another 1-up. And heading on down, hitting a couple of Paragoombas, and we've got the Angry Mama Bird. No way to fire at it, so having to time the jumps as the bird swoops down. And there's the second one. Ooh, a little bit late on the jump there, ends up taking damage, and now one more hit and Mario's done, but Mario's going to take out the Mama Bird first. So that will be coin number 4 for Typo. And that coming your way here at 38 minutes and 42 seconds. So 4 zones down, 2 to go, just Pumpkin and Mario Zone. Pumpkin certainly having its challenges as there are 2 diverging paths. But Pumpkin Zone 1 first, and that is Tree Zone 4. A little bit of that Jimmy Rogers honeycomb from back in 1957. Ooh, and the bee stinging Typo there. Maybe Typo opting, let's see what Mario Zone has to offer. And that's exactly what he's going to do. And Mario Zone 1 is Mario Zone 3. Which he quickly soft resets out of, and it's almost like, man, pick your poison here. Typo going to head on over and utilize some coins and hit the slot machine, and let's see what it brings up. Brings up a Fire Flower. So we'll see which way Typo's going to go here. Going to head back on up to Pumpkin Zone. And back into the beehive. All the firepower there, not quite taking that out. Nor'easter noting the Star Song is too powerful. Typo heading on through. The long pipe hitting a couple of coins. And is going to make the goal. So now Pumpkin Zone 2. It's going to be the Hippo Zone. So 2 exits at the end, 1 an upper, 1 a lower. 1 will lead off to the Pumpkin Zone secret. That's what Typo's not looking for. And the other will lead on to Pumpkin Zone 3. That is what Typo's looking for. And Typo's going to take that upper path. And it turns out that leads to the secret. The soft reset, was it a little early? I thought it was. And now gets the soft reset as we briefly see that the secret zone was macro 2. Yeah, if you go to soft reset before you actually enter the level, then it doesn't count as you going to it, so you have to take that little bit of extra time to actually go to that next level and start it before doing the soft reset to give you the chance to go back. So that's certainly interesting. So Typo is going to float back over this board using the bubble and is going to go to the lower path, and that'll move him on to Pumpkin Zone 3. And this time, yep, you falling down a little bit here. And Pumpkin Zone 3 is Pumpkin Zone 2 and a quick death and a reset. And a nice timely jump there as he was almost waltzing along to the music. Ooh. And Typo zigged when he should have zagged on that one. And he's going to give it another go here. Now just down to... Oh, wow, and taking a death to the ghost and is just going to soft reset. And Typo going to head back to gather another power-up, perhaps. Yep, Toxic 456 noting in chat that Typo should have dipped instead of ducked. And Typo's going to give Mario Zone 1 a go, which was Mario 3. Hovering over top. Underneath the conveyor belt. Just avoiding grazing those spikes. Hits the bell, has to run the proverbial treadmill before getting a little bit of a boost. And late learner knowing it was a very well-timed star. So well-timed, it was perfect. And a little more floating over the top. And drops down just in time and hits the goal. It's now up to Mario Zone 2. And navigating through Turtle Secret. You'll see that the blocks and coins along the level spell out Wario Land 2. Nice little duck underneath there. And that's what Typo was looking for, a fire flower to be able to help take those out a little bit quicker. Ooh, and having to take a damage boost. But able to get, well, opting instead of the carrot for the, opting for the fire flower. Now heading up to Mario Zone 3. Ooh, and a death. It's going to be Pumpkin Secret 2. With those mushrooms that I think we've seen in somewhere in the Super Mario realm somewhere before. And we've got a carrot that is going to give the bunny ears, allow for a little bit easier aerial travel. And decides to gather the fire flower before heading to the goal. And the Mario Zone boss is going to be the Macro Zone boss. Macro Zone 4. Oh, with the added challenge of moon physics. And what sounds like a star song. I hear it's pretty funky. So firing along and just barely getting that Paragoomba is Typo. And picking up a 1-up. Now feeling a little more comfortable with lives as now 6 total. Just barely avoiding the spikes on that treadmill, and we've got Tatanga. Tatanga, normally the Space Zone boss. But a fireball or two, that certainly doesn't hurt things here, and not quite able to finish off with that. Ooh, just barely getting that fireball in. It's kind of taking the slower and safer path as opposed to trying to jump onto Tatanga. But 6 fireballs takes out Tatanga, and that's going to be coin number 5. As we've just crossed the 50-minute mark of this seed. So now just 1 zone left. Back to Pumpkin Zone we go. Pumpkin 2, which was pretty problematic early on. Or earlier on, I should say. And the fireball making things go much more smoothly. Typo able to hit the pipe. And is already more than halfway through the level. And now the different series of pipes here. A little bit of lag with the fireballs. Another one up. And Typo going to head south. And utilizing a little spin trick, heads down this pipe. And is going to use the secret exit. Let's see if it's the correct choice. It is not. And it's going to lead off to the other end of the pumpkin patch and looks to be Tree Zone 3. And wanting to keep that power up, he's just going to head on through with it. And there was the 100th enemy kill. And when you get 100 enemy kills in the game, a star floats down from above, an invincibility star. A lot of the runners tend to try to time that for just as they're coming up toward Wario. So heading on back and now going to head through Pumpkin Zone 2 again to get to the Pumpkin Zone boss, the final boss of the 6 golden coins. We know by process of elimination that it is going to be the boss that's normally in that spot, the Witch. Now back up through the pipes. Sniping these different enemies as he goes along, although not taking the leap of faith there. And is going to go through the standard goal. And we have Mario Zone 4. Which also could have been determined by process of elimination. Between both of our runners, looks like we're going to see all but one of the different zones levels in this seed. Actually, all but two. That's right, Turtle Zone Secret we never saw. But we have the Witch. Let's see which way she's going to go. We're going to start off with the left. I'm going to stay over to the left. We're going to go triple left this time. Yes, we are. 3 lefts, 3 hops. And Typo is going to get coin number 6, and that will grant access to Wario's castle. Here at 5507. So there is the door opening. Bit of a longer path to get there. And here at 55:45, 5, we're getting the castle started, and it looks like there's moon physics in Wario's castle. Oh, got up just a little early, and taking not one but 2 hits now. Has to be really careful. Oh, wow. Oh, but not able to dodge that last fireball. And chat noting worst seed ever confirmed. And that mushroom having a little lasting effect. So tywpo already having to be careful here in this first room. We mentioned early on how troubling the physics have been in this particular seed, and it almost seems appropriate that the physics come into play here in Wario's castle. But tywpo able to make his way through the first room. And is being extra careful. Now we've got another power up here, and I was expecting that to be a money bag, but no, it is a fire flower. Because the game does have at least a little bit of mercy. Oh no, but the mistimed jump. And tywpo falls into the lava and has to start back from the beginning. Now, chat noting commentator's curse, I did say a little bit of mercy. Perhaps maybe I was too generous. And Tsukiya, I just always thought that No Mercy was a wrestling video game, but that's a whole nother, that's another story for another community. Alright, well, tywpo is through the first room again, after having a little bit of practice getting through it the first time. And late learner, I'd be hard-pressed to disagree. Oh, wow. tywpo had a slightly mistimed jump, was able to land back on the platform, but then not able to jump up. So now here comes the third attempt into the castle. Oh, and having to take the fireball. And Wolfman, as soon as I said it, I thought maybe I was missing one here. It is the fourth attempt into the castle. All right, back up we go. This has gotten almost as hard as the Double Dare obstacle course for you Nickelodeon fans out there. Although depending on what awaits, perhaps Olmec put this together and this is actually Legends of the Hidden Temple Mario version. Oh, goodness. Well, with no ability to sprint through, just kind of having to get punched atop the head. Oh, and a shallow jump, and Typo falls into the lava again. And yes, Mooka, yes, YTV in Canadian. I forgot about that. Something that I never thought that I would see here in Super Mario Land 2, although I'm sure it's certainly been proven possible now, if not before, but a plus 60-minute seed. And Mooka, to answer your question, Yoco had forfeited at about the 29-minute and 50-second mark. The challenge of this seed, combined with the just fresh introduction to this game, was proving a bit daunting and, dare I say, flustering. As I'm sure Typo is definitely feeling it right about now. So back in after the soft reset. And Noriester noting in chat that if Typo dot forfeits, then there'll have to be a rematch somewhere down the road. Although I don't know, given the time constraints, would they be able to re-roll the seed? And oh, okay, Beat saying not sure about that. So back up once again, getting the Fire Flower. Oh, and another death on that shallow jump. And back to the door we go. So Typo working on Wario's Castle for closing in on 9 minutes now. And Late Learner noting that, yes, the Typo is on his last life. Now let's see with the moving platforms. Ducking underneath. Jumping up top. Oh, but not able to hang on. And another soft reset. I think everybody in chat was holding their collective breaths to make sure that he did, in fact, hit that soft reset. Otherwise, all 6 coins would be lost. And if that were the case, we'd probably have Slash and Lori, who are set to go here at 8:30. They'd be joining us in progress. So here we are, an hour 6.5 in what has been not quite unanimously, at least I don't believe so, but oh no, another off jump in that moving platform section. And oh dear, noting that the second part of the castle isn't any easier. It is possible that maybe Olmec did put this particular one together. This is very. This is more difficult to than Legends of the Hidden Temple from back in the day. And Beast confirming from the league rules: if both players agree to forfeit, they may reschedule a match within the match window. The reason for forfeiture must be an emergency or the consequence of an unbeatable seed. I don't know if this is necessarily unbeatable, but it's pretty close. It's just very, very difficult to beat. Now, Typo is taking a pause here, I suppose. Perhaps just recollecting himself. So here we go, back to the moving platforms. Hangs on, jumps up, lands, jumps, and makes it. So no fist at this point. Very carefully making the jumps. And almost literal and figurative looking before he leaps. Now up to the next level, and there's the money bag that I called earlier. Oh, and now these tricky platforms. That one collapsible. But able to hang on and taking just that extra split second. Oh, and realizes that perhaps charging through not the way to go, considering the slower physics here. And now we've got these bosses, a little bit more difficult than usual, given the moon physics. Oh, but he gets clipped in the edge there. Now down to Small Mario. Takes out one. One more hit. And then moving on to the pipe, and we've got another one One hit on each one. Is being very careful with the timing. A nice little leap around. And another just barely grazing it. He's trying to hit the that proverbial hitbox, but didn't quite do so. Now he's able to get it. And a power-up. Oh, it's a money bag. So he's going to have to go into Wario as Small Mario. Oh, and the lamp falls from above. And he saw the game over, and did he... Oh no, he lost all the coins! The game over flashed on the screen. I saw when it said 18, so all 6 gold coins have been lost. And Typo has forfeited. Here at 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 4 seconds in. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm flabbergasted. I've said just when you thought you've seen everything, something new happens here. And it looks like there's a discussion in Discord. It looks as though I believe they're going to be setting up for a rematch here somewhere down the line. So we have Slash, the proverbial commissioner of the league, working on some semblance of a decision and ruling here, as this is I don't want to say unprecedented, but it's certainly pretty close. One of the most challenging seeds seen in a while, not necessarily unbeatable, but the question is, do we want to be here all night to see it beaten? I mean, at this point, with the double dot forfeit, I guess it's a matter of seeing where we go from here. This is certainly a shocking turn of events, to say the least. So as we are awaiting some semblance of a ruling and direction and things of that nature, I want to let you know to stick with us here on the Randomania Networks this evening, as here on Randomania 2 in just a little over an hour from now, you will see the last of the first round matchups for this Season 2 of SML2 6 Golden Coins Randomizer League. You're going to see Slash against Lori D. Meanwhile, over on Randomania, at 9 o'clock, you'll see the Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link Randomizer weekly race. And over on Randomania 3 at 8 o'clock, about a half hour from now, is one of the Pokemon Crystal Cinco Bingo tournament matches. Plus, there's more tournament action that'll be on Randomania tomorrow at 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern as well. So certainly a lot of perplexion, a lot of confusion, certainly a lot of difficulty, a lot of struggle. GG to both of our runners, as they both gave a gallant effort in what has been one of the most difficult seeds seen by even some of the more experienced runners here. As there's discussion going on in Discord at the moment as far as where we're going to go from here. So the commissioner is still collaborating with our two racers here, possibly seeing about what can be done in terms of a potential reschedule. I guess at this point it's a bit too late to have the possibility of a reseed. And I think as much as I'd love to get both of our runners' thoughts here, I think most of them may not be safe for broadcast. So I would imagine the best way to get the reaction to everything that's going on, as you can see there in chat, is you join the Super Mario Land 2 Discord. That way you can find out a little bit more about the game, talk to some of the people who run it, and also be able to get the reaction as far as things are going. Thank you to Wolfman2000 for putting that up there in chat. And also you can see where the link is to the randomizer itself, as well as the league information. As more collaboration is going at the moment. I don't want to necessarily let that out as far as what's going on. I'll leave those internal discussions internally. But I believe, at least for the moment, that is going to wrap things up here in what has turned out to be a double forfeit due to the extreme difficult nature of the seed. So we shall see how things play out. In the meanwhile, we'll be back in about an hour from now for the last of our first round matchups. It's going to be Slash against Lori D. That's coming up in just about an hour here on Randomania 2. And until that time, I'm Ferran Burgundy. I want to thank our restreamer and tracker Yoni Man for enduring things with us here. And until about an hour from now, when I'll be back, I'm Ferran Burgundy saying, may your stars sing brightly and your seeds stay classy. I believe we're going to head on over to Randomania 1 for more of the Pokemon Crystal Cinco Bingo Tournament here among the Randomania networks.